stream of consciousness is one of the favorite techniques used by Virginia Woolf and James Joyce. But it all began with the works of George Eliot, who too is a British writer, which was famous for the works like Mill on the Floss, Adam Bede, or you can say Middlemarch. And after George Eliot, this particular writing style was enriched by the American author Henry James. So the chronology began like this. The very first person was George Eliot, who was much more interested in the psyche of the character. And she was the first person who came out with the techniques that is much more about exploring the human or conscious or unconscious levels of the characters. And after that it was Henry James who enriched this particular writing style in his works like The Ambassador, Daisy Miller, or you can say The Portrait of a Lady. So you see, all these titles are also based on the characters. So Henry James is also much more interested in the characters. In fact, his all novels talk about some conscious and unconscious levels of characters. And after George Eliot, Henry James, this particular technique, stream of consciousness, reached its pinnacle with the modern writers like T.S. Eliot, Virginia Woolf, D.H. Lawrence, etc. It was William James, brother of Henry James, who coined this particular term, stream of consciousness, in his work Principles of Psychology. The technique is nothing but to explore the psyche of the character. The story revolves around the character, what is happening inside the world of that character rather than what is happening outside the world of that character. In Indian literature, it is Arun Joshi and Anita Desai who successfully created or who successfully implemented this particular style of writing, stream of consciousness, in their works. If you want to know what this stream of consciousness is all about, then I suggest you to read the works of Anita Desai. You can begin with The Clear Light of the Day or In Custody, or you can go for her other works like The Cry the Peacock or Baumgarten, Bombay, or some other works, because she has used this particular technique in all her works. It is very much easy for you to read the Indian novel because it has the context, it has the narration, or it has the surroundings of Indian rather than British or American, which you might find a little difficult to understand. I have personally read Clear Light of the Day, In Custody, or you can say Cry the Peacock, and compared it with the works of Virginia Woolf, Mrs. Dalloway. So it is a little easier for you to read Anita Desai rather than studying or rather than reading Virginia Woolf. But then again, if you have a good background of reading habit, if you have been reading the books for last 2 years or 3 years, you can simply go to Virginia Woolf and read her novels. But if you are a beginner, if you are just starting out this habit of reading, then you can start with Anita Desai, Clear Light of the Day, to understand this stream of consciousness. So all these works written by Virginia Woolf, D.H. Lawrence, or you can say T.S. Eliot, Anita Desai, Arun Joshi, George Eliot, Henry James, talks about characters, talks about the inner world of the characters rather than the outside world. Henry James has written an article or an essay, The Art of the Novel, and here in that essay he told that why characters are much more important than plot or structure. Right from the very beginning, we saw that everyone was focusing much more on structure. In fact, this Aristotle also talked about tragedy, talked about the structure or the plot, which is the one of the main element of writing a tragedy. He was also much more focused on structure. But it was Henry James who thought that no, that structure is not important, but the characters are much more important. That is why his all works like The Ambassador, Daisy Miller are all based on the characters. Even the title of these novels are based on the characters. So when Anita Desai was in her 20s, she used to read a lot of these modern writers like T.S. Eliot and Virginia Woolf. She tried to imitate all these writers and came out with her own writing style, which she has used in Indian literature. She was influenced by these writers, but then again she overcame that anxiety of influence and wrote her works. It was when she was 26 years old, she published her first novel, Cry the Peacock. And in that novel, she applied stream of consciousness on the character Maya. Cry the Peacock has already been asked a few times in previous year UGC NET examination, so there is huge probability that in the upcoming examination, state examination, or you can say UGC NET or GATE examination, you will find questions from this particular novel, Cry the Peacock. But in this video, we are only going to talk about her another work, Clear Light of the Day, because it has a lot of autobiographical elements from Anita Desai's life. So the discussion of this particular novel will give you a little knowledge about the life of Anita Desai, as well as how she plots the work, how she plots the character, so on and so forth. So before continuing this video, if you're one of those students who really want to crack UGC NET examination or GATE examination in English literature, then you can simply place your order of our organized study material on English literature. You can check the link in the description below to know more about our study material. And now, without any further delay, let's continue our discussion on Clear Light of the Day by Anita Desai. So first, let's discuss the summary of this novel, and then we can move forward talking about psychological aspects of the characters. So it is a story of 4 siblings, Bim, Tara, Raja and Baba. These 4 siblings want to escape from the house just because no one is there to take care of them. Yes, of course they have parents, but these parents do not take care of them. They are often fine to get busy in playing cards or doing parties with their friends. So these 4 children, right from the childhood, felt ignored by their parents. And then there is another character, Mira Masi, who is taking care of all these 4 siblings. So these 4 siblings do not want to remain in the house, and they want to escape from this particular house. Especially Tara, who is made fun by other siblings like Raja and Bim. So Tara escapes the house by marrying Indian ambassador to USA. Raja also found the way to escape the house. What he did was he was much more interested in Urdu language. So there was a person in his neighborhood which was Haider Ali, and Haider Ali too was much more influenced by Raja's interest in Urdu. And Haider Ali moved from Delhi to Hyderabad, and then he called Raja to come along with him. So Raja also escaped the house to Hyderabad in his passion or in his interest of learning Urdu language. So out of these 4 siblings, Bim, Tara, Raja and Baba, Raja and Tara escaped the house, and the remaining 2 members were remaining in the house, that is Tara and Baba. Now the Baba is suffering from autism since his childhood, and Bim has to take care of him. So the whole responsibility of the house gets onto the shoulders of Bim. Bim is so much unhappy with Raja, who must have taken the responsibility of the house. And instead of Raja, it was Bim who is taking care of Baba and other responsibilities of the house. So the whole novel focuses on the inner world of Bim. The Bim who is taking care of the whole house, and as well as Baba also. She is much more disappointed with Raja just because he neglected his own responsibilities. So Bim is in the house with Aunt Mira Masi and Baba. Their parents died a long time back, and after a few years, Aunt Mira Masi also died. Now it is she and Baba who is remain alone in the house. Bim loves reading books, especially the books written by T.S. Eliot, the poems written by T.S. Eliot. So we find also Bim reading the books of T.S. Eliot. And then she is also a lecturer in a college, the lecturer of history. But again, the very important thing here in this novel is the inner world, is the conscious and unconscious levels of Bim, which the novel talks about. It is not the structure or plot of the novels. Yes, structure and plotting matters most, but in the technique, stream of consciousness in which this novel is written, we can figure out that everything is centered all around the Bim. There are a lot of techniques also used in this novel, just like flashbacks. Yes, sometimes the novel gets into the past, sometimes the novel gets into the future, and then it comes back to the present moment also. In Indian literature, we have seen that many writers are much more focused on the social background or the economical background. But in the works of Anita Desai, it is not so. It has nothing to do with the outside world, but it has everything to do with the inside world. Towards the end of this novel, what happened was Bim visits the neighborhood family, that is the family of Mishras. The neighborhood family, the Mishras too, had their own problems. The novel talks about the difficulties faced by the women who are the part of or who are the family members of the Mishras. In the Mishra's family, the women of the house were abandoned by their husbands. But at the end, Bim realizes that it is not good that you should abandon your family. So she accepts the forgiveness, or she forgives Baba, and looking forward to get together. There are a lot of things that cannot be mentioned here in this video, but again, the purpose of this video is to simply let you know what are the important things that you should remember in this novel while you are reading the novel. A novel is not only about summary and plot, it has a lot to do with the characters. Every character has his own point of view. For example, you can see the people around you. They all are different. No two people share the same characteristics or same habits. So the novel is just like that. It is not only about summary or a story, it is much more about the characters also. So the purpose of this video is not only to help you prepare for competitive exams, but also to encourage you to start reading some books to develop a healthy reading habit. So with this, we come to the end of this video. I hope you found the video worth your time. That's it for this video. Thank you.